Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Outstanding. It's better to be in here than out there in the sun, right?
Right.
We appreciate everyone for coming. We're about to start, and this particular moment, anyone that needs an agenda? Everyone has one? Fantastic. Okay, so we're going to start off with a moment of silence for those that have passed since we last met, as well as for the community of Hope. Okay, thank you. 7 on the agenda, we're going to do a roll call. And since I'm talking, I basically say Congressman Earls is present. Chair.
DeAndre Willis, Community Engagement Manager.
Maria Karen Richards, Committee Nominator, President.
Outstanding. So it has established that we have a quorum. We have not just the 2/3, but 3 of them, which is normally the norm here. And we're going to go right to our third bullet point, which is our approval of our previous meeting minutes. So we're going to start off with, it was the third and last minute for April 11, 2024. And it was held on April 11th. The location was 5916 West Lake Street. The quorum consisted of Councilors Willis and Earls. The public comment question rendered quite a few ideas. So they wanted us to define the roles of the district council. And the councilors present explained what those roles were. They also, the residents questioned, what does the investigation look like in response to the Dexter Reed and Cynthia D. shooting? That was addressed this week. The councilors was asked the question about the Chicago Tribune 1-year anniversary article. And for the most part, it was answered as accurate. And then they questioned why Hope Community Church had a role in our meeting on that particular night. And we basically told them that they were the organization in which we highlight every meeting, and that's why they partnered with us to also have a training in regards to the emergency response for our community. Councilor Winter's AIM initiatives were shared in a condensed version, and we discussed that our residents become aware of what beat they reside in. The residents also requested that concerns to the DCOs, to the aldermen, an update should be given in this particular setting so they will know the results of their complaint or concern. CBD was present. Officer Hewitt talked about the DCO's role, and the meeting attendees went downstairs, some left and some went to the training center. And that was the meeting's minutes for April 11. Are there any corrections?
Nope.
Yes, ma'am. Question?
When you talk about is it for something you're to see, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, the emergency response, from who? Police station? What?
No, Hope Church has a opt-in text number, and I will give that to you. And that number is going out to, once you text and opt into Hope Community Church's initiative, they will send you a text in regards to what's happening in the community. So that's what they were speaking about. Yes, brother?
The program is ART.
Yes.
That's our text and communication line,
Outstanding.
which is a program, ART Now. You text ART Now to the number, and then it lets you know of all of the events that ART is having, which are mobile pop-ups and things like that.
Outstanding.
Hope Church is a part of the ART Now program, but it's a bunch of community organizations along with 15th District in a collabo to make art.
I understand.
So where's Hope Church at? Is it
Hope
located?
Church is 5900 in Iowa, but Councilor Willis is about to give you the number that you can opt in.
No. I was just gonna say the only other piece is that we have a monthly newsletter. I did include it in that newsletter. So if you make sure you give us your email address today, every time we have a meeting, we do have a newsletter that follows, as well as flyers, and that'll keep you abreast of certain things. But I do have the number for you if you like it.
Yes.
It is so what you would do is you would text ART Now,
Art, A-R-T?
yes.
N-O-W, A-R-T, N-O-W.
Response,
And you would text that to 844-325-4410. Yep, it is 844-325-4410. And I know the third time's the charm, so I'm gonna say it one more time. It's text ART now, and you text it to, and ART is ARTNOW, and you text it to 844-325-4410.
Outstanding. Any other questions regarding those minutes? Yes, ma'am.
I'm not sure my question, but, I did go down to the training and everything, and I actually found nothing, and everything, but I'm not seeing any correspondence from that campaign at all.
You mean like the night walk?
Yeah.
Yeah, 9 to 5.
Yeah, we did.
Okay, all right, I
I
just make sure.
started, yeah, because I reached out to Pastor Epstein about my group wanting to go out with them also, and I asked her that, but I'll check in with them tomorrow.
Okay, I actually want to make sure everyone hears their question. So she was basically asking, she was saying this.
Just turn it on.
I'm not sure if it was a question, but I did attend the training after the ECCS meeting, and it was an awesome production that they did. Left an email address and everything, but I've not heard anything since that actual training.
And your response? Brother?
No, that was me. I was saying that, I went to the training also, and I hadn't received anything. Because when I first saw Pastor Epstein, he told me next week, and that might have been like 2 weeks ago. And so I will, because maybe they haven't started yet, so I will follow up with him tomorrow to see if they started, if not, when they'll be starting.
Outstanding.
Are there any other questions regarding April 11th meeting? Okay, thank you. May I have a motion to accept this with the corrections?
I move to accept April 11th meeting with corrections.
Second, please. It has been moved, motion by Councilor Rudis and second by Councilor Winters to accept the April 11, 2024 meeting minutes with the additions and questions attached. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, ayes have it. Now I'm going to go through the minutes, May 9th, 2024, at 6 p.m. It was held at 5437 West Division, West Side Health Authority. And we started at 6 p.m. with the start time. The agenda followed as printed with the deferment of the meetings because we did not have the April 11 meeting ready. So therefore, it was motioned by Councilor Rudis and second by Councilor Winters to defer the meeting minutes approval, as you just heard. Councilors gave their various updates. The Legacy Award and Above and Beyond Award was given to Officer Jorge Munoz, and the public comment rendered the fact that the district has abandoned building programs, and Officer Munoz is the one that's handling that. Commander Morse requested that no prejudgment be given to the police officers, especially considering those things that happen in other districts. It was talked about, again, the shooting of Dexter Reed, and the update of the investigation that was referred to as for us to reference COPA's information. We accepted and understood. He said, please accept us and understand that we are here to serve you. The Westside Health Authority spoke about the community services they render to the community. Our keynote speaker was Maggie Hickey from the consent decree, attorney and staff, and the Chicago Police Department acknowledged that counseling was needed and being accepted by a lot of officers. And that being stated, that was the gist of our May meeting. Are there any questions regarding the meeting itself? Okay. May I have a motion to accept the May 9th meeting, please?
I move to accept the meeting from May 9th meeting.
Second.
Okay, it has been moved by Councilor Rudis and it has been seconded by Councilor Winters that those particular meeting minutes for May 9th also be accepted. At this particular point, I'm going to refer you back to our agenda. Hi, there's plenty of seats up here if you'd like to join us. Outstanding. Okay, so that being stated, I'm going to now turn this over into the hands of our community engager for the next bullet point. Okay, give it to Karen. Karen, it is. It's now in your hands.
Yes, so now we will just give a brief update. So as you all know, I am a community nominator. So I had to responsibility with the 21 other, district counselor nominators to, select the 14 names that we sent to the mayor.
She need a whole
Sent
package.
15, and
Give her
then the
my
mayor was
agenda. She needs
to
the
seven
package.
those names to put before city council, which she did. They were approved by the mayor, however, the city council has only approved 6 of those 7. And I believe they are supposed to be seated on the 23rd. The one that so the names are Kelly Presley, West Side, Renell Terry, West Side, Anthony Driver, South Side, Sandra Wordham, South Side, Aaron Gottlieb, North Side. Wait, I'm missing somebody else. Abrier, Minor, South Side, Angel Ruby Navarro, North Side, and he is a youth candidate. He works for Alderman. I don't know, I can't think of somebody.
Maria Hathaway.
Okay, so that is what the conflict is about his appointment. So we don't know if he's gonna be appointed or if he's gonna have to go back to the drawing board and find a 7th candidate, because it has to be 7. The ordinance calls for 7. But there are 6 that have been officially seated by city council, and they will start their positions on the 23rd. So we did touch a little bit about the initiative that we've been working on called AIM, Accountability Improvement Methods. Well, we want to look at how do we want to engage with our officers, how we want officers to show up in community, if we want to create some community mediation program, whereas when there are small infractions in the community, that we can handle that amongst ourselves without having to try to go through the Bureau of Internal Affairs or to go through COPA. Then officer wellness, something we can do in community with officers. But it's kind of been put on pause for right now because currently we're working on a general order. It is General Order 0111 in terms of how district commanders will interact with district counselors. And again, because this is all new, so we were good in 11, but other districts are not so good. And so because of that, they had to come up with this general order so we can all play nice together. But it's kind of unfortunate for us because now our commander's like, I gotta wait for the general order. Like, dang it, this will take forever. So the general order is to provide guidance from the Community Commission for Public Safety and Accountability. The ordinance and the department's interaction with the Community Commission for Public Safety and Accountability, and the district councils. So therefore, AIM is gonna be put on hold until this order is in place, and then we find out what the next measures are. Because one of the things we're supposed to do is create initiatives, but there's not necessarily a protocol as to once we create these initiatives, how then we get the buy-in from the department to activate them. So that's what we're working on, so it's got to be put on hold till we get the order and figure out what is next. And I just want to mention that there is so much conversation right now around the consent decree. The consent decree. The consent decree is a massive document, but I am one of the leading organizers with the Chicago Consent Decree Coalition. And in July, I'm going to do like a teach-in, like a consent decree 101, just so community members can have a basic understanding of what the consent decree is, because now there's also a big conversation around pretextual stops. And some people want the police department to do away with them. I don't think that's gonna happen. And then it's a matter of if pretextual stops will go to the commission, the community commission, or if the stops will go into the consent decree. And so right now, we don't know where it stands. There was a hearing yesterday. I did attend the hearing. So I guess we have to hear back from the judge about that. But we're gonna plan that consent decree 101 teach-in for July. And then the over here on the table, there's a little box over there that says cards. We kind of created a 15th district anonymous complaint form. But this complaint form, you can, it could be a community issue, or it could be a low-level issue with an officer, or you might want to give a compliment to an officer, or you might want to make a suggestion for the 15th district. And so I do have some of the papers here, and you can just fill it out and just put it in the box for us. and then we'll see if they go to the district or if it's something that we handle amongst ourselves. And I think that is all that I have.
All right, so for me, I'm the community engagement specialist for our group. I'm DeAndre Rivers, by the way, I apologize. What that means is I do a lot of connecting between police and community, kind of like the liaison, especially if communication breakdown, but also just making sure you all are abreast of all the different things that are happening within the community and CPD in general. And so a couple ways that we do that. One, we do newsletters every month that follows each of our meetings, essentially breaks down each section. And this is just a brief recap. This isn't something that's very thorough, but I always include a link on there that you can type in. It'll take you directly to the YouTube channel where our meetings are recorded at. Traditionally, it does give you a bit of information. If you miss certain things, like as I mentioned, the last newsletter had the Art Now number on it. Also, I definitely wanted to make a special thank you to Joanna and her church, the Third Unitarian. Last month, they catered our district council meeting. I wish y'all could have been there because the gumbo was like I put it on this newsletter. It's the best thing, best gumbo and cornbread inside of Louisiana. So, you know what I mean? So we appreciate that. But things like that are contained in our newsletter. We want to make sure that we always highlight the different things that's happening in the community as well. A couple things that you will also find on the newsletter, we have both a public survey. We definitely want to keep track of what changes in policing happen as the district council has come in. So this has been live since we started. So as you continue to join the meetings or just are involved in public safety in any way, please take the survey. Just let us know how things are going. It helps us, again, to see if we made a difference at the end of our shift, which is another 2.5 years from now. We also have a contact card, if you will. So again, QR code. If you just want to reach out to us and give us your information, or you just want to be in an anonymous, once again, there's a different opportunity to do that. So I hold on to all of those different things for our group. Additionally, I also have a resource hub that we're creating when there's issues that come up during these meetings. At some point we had a noise complaint come up. Another time we had trespassing come up. I'll go find those ordinances or documents and I'll put them in that resource hub for the community. You'll also be able to find the different newsletters there. At some point, if it isn't too large, I'll put the videos up there from the meetings. So it'll just give you an opportunity to find everything as easy as possible. It's a Google Drive link, so at some point I'll start putting those on the newsletter if it fits. The other thing that I did this month is I wanted to provide you all with some maps. So this particular map here, if you have it, is essentially a heat map of all the crime in the areas of concentration where it's happening in the district. That way you can just be abreast of some of the things that's happening. Along this line right here towards the very most bottom, this is basically Washington and Madison. So as you can see, our crime essentially is concentrated from Austin to Cicero along Washington and Madison area. And then you got a nice little pocket right up here, Central and probably not even Central. I think let's just focus on with the dark area. So down here, Cicero, as we know, this is probably the toughest part of the 15th district. So this is like Adams, Madison, Glass, all of that is what this particular heavy dark area is here. Exactly, where we are. Same thing on Central. And so something like this, I'll continue to provide, maybe do it like every 6 months or something so that we can see, again, if there are changing trends. One of the things that we'll talk about today from the mayor's office is some of the organizing that they're going to be doing around certain blocks. Again, those in that area have been highlighted, so we'll see if that actually makes a difference. So again, about 6 months from now, I'll come back and do another one of these maps to see if the heat level has gone down, if you will. Another thing, just another cool little map of some engagement stuff, is this is a map of every single meeting that we've had so far. As you can see, we tried to move these meetings into every single part of the district and beat. We are currently meeting in 1522 today. Our next meeting will take place at 1522, and we are meeting in 1532.
That's where we at now,
Mhm.
1532?
So we'll continue to move these. We want to make sure that we touch every beat as well as every ward in our district. And so again, in maybe another 6 months or so, I'll update this map to show you where we've been. And if you have any particular areas of interest that you think we should concentrate at, let us know. Next thing I want to bring up is, so we had a community member that reached out to me. It was a Saturday night, can't remember the exact date, but along Washington and Long, he said he was driving past and he saw a group of officers. They had a woman, a female detained, and he said the female officer walked up and hit the young lady in her face. He said at that point, other officers surrounded this person and they took her down. And so he reached out to me and we started that process of connecting with COPA. And so what that looks like now is that there is an investigation that is happening currently. We have an investigation number, and they followed up with him yesterday to let them know that they have started to review the tapes. They can't tell him what's going on with the tapes. I'm not sure if they can tell us, but I'll be reaching out to follow up with COPA with the numbers they gave me to see if we can learn a little bit more information. And as that becomes resolved, I'll keep you all abreast of that as well. And so to anybody that comes across anything like that, you always have us to help with the facilitation process. One of the things I did to help him out was I reached out directly to Mackenzie Thurman, who's over, I can't think of his exact position, but he was able to make sure that they looked for that young man's email that went out to COPA. And in that way, we kind of fast tracked him being able to get assigned a number so we can start those investigations. So typically we've been doing quarterly Know Your Rights events. The unfortunate is this has been a stacked quarter, so we missed this quarter to do a Know Your Rights. The next quarter we have already planned it. As of right now, we're looking at August 15th. That's a Thursday, about 5:30 to 7:30. We're going to focus on marijuana, and so we want to make sure that folks understand how the laws have changed since marijuana legalization has been implemented. So we'll have Cannabis Equity Illinois come out. We're going to have the state's attorney come out. And we're probably going to have an attorney that deals with marijuana expungements come out so that we can have the whole spectrum of folks that are involved in that process. So again, folks can know their rights as it relates to marijuana. So then again, it'll be 8:15. Location is still to be determined at the moment, but about 5:30 to 7:30. The last couple things I'll say is in July. So I still work for what's called the Policing Project through New York University School of Law. We are going to support actions that are happening in the community, in the districts that we work in. So that's 10, 11, 15, and 25, giving special attention to 10 and 11. But because we operate in 15 and 25, we are also going to support any activations that are happening in July, we out of June now. June. So July and August, especially where it gets the roughest for us. And so if you have any actions that are happening, let us know. We want to support those. And we'll be able to do that, food or resource or however that needs to happen. Just let us know, and we have already set aside so that we can help with that. And then the very last thing is we had our recently District Council Quarterly. This is an opportunity where all the district councilors across the city, there are 66 of us, come together to talk about the trends in public safety and police accountability. For this one, we focused on certain ordinances that we want to see that can help all of us do our work a lot better. One of which was OMA, that is the Open Meetings Act. What that does is it governs how we can communicate with one another. The unfortunate is that was put in place before we got here. And so 2 of us cannot talk about district business. For example, I cannot share with them if somebody calls for me to talk about that issue that the young man had. This is their first time hearing it because we can't talk about business. And that's kind of stifling the way that we can do our work. And so we're trying to move the state legislator to remove that piece of legislation on the district council. But we have to wait until next session and see what's going to happen with that, unfortunately. But that's something that we're moving as a group to amend. The second thing is the shot spotter. So I know a lot of you have heard that there's been some contention between shot spotter and the community. The mayor has said that it's gone, after the DNC, but there are other folks who would like to see it stay. And so there are district councilors that are in favor of looking at least the data to see if ShotSpotter, or at least Sound Thinking, that's the organization behind it, is actually a viable product to keep in Chicago. But many of us want to see the data behind it to know that it is actually something that can be useful for the community. The other thing is, as Councilor Winters mentioned, pretextual stop may go into the consent decree, but as of now, district councilors are trying to prevent that. We feel that if you put it into the consent decree, that there's a possibility that it goes on life support. Our consent decree has been in place since 2019, and we're only 6% complete in terms of everything that the Chicago Police Department is supposed to be doing. And at this point, we've paid about $15 million or so to the consent decree monitor and her team, and all we've gotten is 6% progress. We don't want to see this happen to pretextual stop, because we feel like that it's a tool that has been used to unfairly target communities of color. But if, again, similar to like the ShotSpotter and Sound Thinking, if the data can suggest that this actually helps the community, there may be an argument to move forward with something like this. But ultimately, the district council don't want this to go into the consent decree, and we're trying to leverage the community commission so that they can actually do something about it and hopefully make it a general order or something. The last thing I'll say is that the unions are a big problem as it relates to us trying to do this job for the community. And so we're looking at some ideas of how we can be more involved with the union process, not only the district councilors, but also the community commission. And so that's something that the district councilors are working on as well. So that's essentially a recap of the quarterly. And as Councilor Winters mentioned, we are also looking towards how do we communicate with our commanders. Unfortunately, again, not our group, but our group is now being punished for it. Other district councilors do not work well with their commanders. And so we have to have a general order to figure out how the relationship is going to be built. And that was the very last piece of our quarterly meeting. So we talked at length about that. And that is all of the updates I have for you.
Can you tell me what a pretextual stop is?
So a pretextual stop is anything that gives an officer what they like to say a reason to stop you, if you will. So that could be a broken tail light, that could be your turn signal's not working, seat belt, something hanging from your rear view, expired plates, things that are minor traffic violations, if you will. But what they do is when they find that reason to stop you, they typically then go further and actually search your vehicle in hopes of finding you possessing something illegal. And again, generally it affects Black and brown communities at a much higher rate than it does other communities, although the data suggests the other communities actually have paraphernalia and other illegal items at a greater rate than these communities do.
Speaking of knowing your rights, if they stop me for a broken tail light, am I within my rights if they ask me to search my car to then say no?
I wish they would sit where they at. They normally did all I do for first meeting that they're not here. I'm going to say, I think this is just me. They say when you do that, allow them to search your car, you basically have given up your rights. And so they should not be wanting to search your car for a broken tail light. I'm gonna say no, but again, that's just me. They're not here to answer that question in full detail, but it didn't answer it.
I will say, based on the know your rights that we did, so we did one based on these pretextual stops. What they told us was, it is okay for you to say, I do not consent to search. And if you say that, and they still search, then it becomes an illegal search, and then you go to court and everything that they find after that point gets thrown out.
And you have to say it like that, right?
Yeah, I do not consent to be searched.
Turn your, vest on.
Yeah, you should actually put the camera on. You should say, I do not consent to be searched.
Also too, you said something hanging from your rearview mirror, so that's illegal.
Yes.
Even in their fresh
It's,
I
yeah,
got
they
a
say
lot of
it's
stuff hanging from mine. I'm gonna remove it today. Oh my God. One more question. This union, what is this union that's seem to be, problem, you guys? What is this union? We mentioned about it.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, so the FOP, our police union, is probably one of the most powerful in the country. What it does is it gives a lot of protections to officers so that when such aggravations happen, a lot of times they are let off the hook, if you will, in terms of more stringent punishments and things like that that should follow. And so what we're trying to do is have voice into that process. So for example, one of the things that the union has called us tooth and nail for an independent arbitrator. Now what happens is there's some misconduct issue that goes in front of a police board. The police board can determine what kinds of punishment should be levied against those officers, but then the officers, being that they're a union, then elects to move that to an independent arbitrator who is typically sided with the officers for a less punitive punishment. And so what that does is make community members feel as if, they have no real voice or say. And so we are trying to be a part of that process.
Now, how you plan on joining? You mentioned that you plan on joining. How?
I don't want to say join. We're not joining, but what we would like to do is be involved in their contractual process. There is a group, the Carper, that has been actually doing some trainings on the police union contract, and they can give you a lot more information. So I definitely like to connect you with the next meeting. It's very quick. It's about an hour or so, but it gives you so much background information on the union and their contract, and it'll tell you how they utilize the union to circumvent discipline.
One more thing, and I'm done. I heard Trump say if he wins, that he was going to make sure he put in a policy where the police won't even be recommended in no kind of way. And it's only us that they coming against, so he's talking about us.
I'm glad you're listening.
Yeah. So we can't have any of that.
Okay, so that being stated, I'm Carmelita Earls, the chair of this three-graded board. As chairperson, the majority of my job is administrative. And that simply means that anything that is necessary to make sure that we have a smooth process, then we basically get it done. So that being stated, my background is administration at the high level from the fire department. And this is actually interesting because I know for a fact that being in the union and also being an exempt employee as an at-will employee, our union will do whatever's necessary to secure the job of their people. Let's not get that twisted. What has happened as a result of the shooting that was on Cicero and Gladys is that I've started to draft CERT directives. That's Civilian Emergency Response Team directives. That simply means that's for you. So since we cannot completely rely upon the Chicago Police Department to be fully transparent, it simply means we're going to have to rely upon ourselves. We're going to police the police. So for those people that are interested in doing so, we're not telling you that you go out there with your flashlight and turn into a flashlight cop. No, that's not what we're saying. What we're saying is that a lot of us have things like the ring devices on our houses. We know where the pods are in our neighborhoods. So that simply means something happens. If something happens right now, immediately, we hear shots, we do whatever. Don't go out there and put yourself in harm's way. But you go out to observe. And that being said, you start documenting. Everybody's got one of these. Just start recording. No one can make you stop. Record what you see. Record the camera, record the street sign, record whatever's going around. And that takes no more than about 3 to 5 minutes. And then, record who's present. Because a lot of that information, say when there's a police involved shooting, And by the time it gets to the investigation, a lot of that stuff has been sterilized. You won't get it. The families won't get it. We won't even know it exists. That being stated. So with these particular directives, if you guys will empower yourself to understand, number one, what your rights are, understand we've been dealing with this for a long time. If it wasn't for the work that they've done and consent decree, things of that nature, then we wouldn't be sitting here. So sometimes people have to be forced to do the right thing. So that being said, you know, also we're going to get ahead of the curve because we know that we're getting the short end of the stick. Now, just to verify what not verify, but amen, what Councilor Rubin says, I live on Washington Law, and I know nothing about that. So, just so you understand, the city is not necessarily wanting us to succeed because they're prohibiting us from having a conversation. If I call Karen and say, how you doing, how your day going, would you like to go to lunch? And we're basically talking about stuff that's not council related so that we are not non-compliant with the Open Meetings Act. Who would do that? How the heck are we supposed to succeed if you don't want us to talk about what's necessary? But therefore, we're not going to circumvent the law. We just want to do what we need to do to function. So that being said, that's what I do. As your chair, I'm basically the administrative person to do whatever's necessary. If it's, I don't get cats out of trees anymore, but if I need to climb a tree to find out what's happening, I'll do that. That's it.
So what is a shot spot?
We're actually going to move to our public comment section now. So now is the time. We have 2 minutes per person for public comment. You can speak on anything. Some folks take this opportunity to talk about things that's going on their block. If you don't want to do that, that's all right. In the past, we have been able to address things because we've had police officers here with us today. I did reach out to the sergeant while we were sitting here to find out where they were. And she said most of them started at 6 a.m. today, so they couldn't come. But yet and still, we have the anonymous box. We have the new anonymous cards contact over here. So if you have any of those issues you'd like to share, you can do that there. Otherwise, any questions or comments, this is the time to do so now.
Anybody? No, I'm giving it to you. She's here now.
You giving it to me?
Yeah. Talking about the. You got 2 minutes. Full court.
I wanted to know how everyone feels about the curfew that Mayor Brandon Johnson is against for youth unescorted downtown. I don't know. I mean, I got a couple of things I want to talk about, but that's just one that's pressing right now that I wanted to know how people in our community feel.
Well, since I have a lot to say about it, I don't have a problem with it because there's a lot of our parents that are not parenting their children. So that curfew is not necessarily for the well-behaved, the people, the children that knows what's needed. These are for the renegades that's doing whatever's necessary. Am I basically giving them a green light to discriminate? No. But what I have, in the name of public safety, since a lot of our children are not going downtown to shop, they're not going downtown to eat, they're not going downtown to enjoy the amenities of the city, for the most part, the ones that's being highlighted are the ones that's causing havoc. So the mayor has to do whatever is necessary to create a safe environment. Anyone else? Okay.
Yeah,
Yes,
I
ma'am.
have a camera in front of my house.
Say that again, please.
I have a hidden camera in front of my house.
Outstanding. It's not hidden anymore now.
No. And I saw him put it in there, and I was wondering, how can you get any footage of that?
Who is he?
How can,
Who put it in?
I saw a guy put it in there. I don't know who ordered him to do it, but I saw him do it.
Okay.
It's in the light. It's in the light thing.
So you have a park camera, it's in the black.
yeah.
For one thing, so they're basically just getting surveillance for the activities of the community. That lets you know that if they wanted to get whoever they wanted to get from your
Right.
block, they could get it, but it's not a priority. So let the camera stay there.
Oh, I don't want it to move. I just need some footage because somebody been trespassing on my property.
Yeah, well, you know what, I'm sure they're not gonna do it for personal reasons, liability purposes, you're not gonna get that information, but let something happen. There you go. She's got some footage for you. That's what she's done. She's got some footage. I mean, anyone else? Any other questions?
This is not a police-related issue. This is a community-related issue. And I'm actually part of the steering committee. We're trying to bring a food co-op to the Austin area. We actually have some surveys that we would like for everyone in Austin, whether you live here, work here, whatever, to fill out the survey. The survey is going to give you a brief description of what grocery store food co-op is. It's also going to ask what would you like to see in a food co-op here in Austin, if you would be interested in joining a food co-op here in Austin. So Cassandra has some surveys, and we're asking everyone to just look at this flyer, click on that QR code, and fill out the survey. So this is just like a food co-op is a store. It's a community-owned grocery store. It's owned by the community. It employs people in the community. Hopefully it sources products from locally. And so we kind of just get started. Sam has some surveys.
Yeah, I didn't want to interrupt what they were talking about, but after the meeting, I have surveys.
Outstanding. So after the meeting, she would like your community members to the park district to fill this out. How you doing? But can you guys give them a hand for putting us inside of the
Real quickly, so I've been in this community for about over a year now, and I'm the park supervisor here. My concern is, why is it not more police patrolling in this area when the kids are primarily out there? Because there's a lot of incidents and it's a lot of stuff, and it starts off small and then it get big and then it get bigger, and then I'm like, and I'm calling like this person, and then it's nothing happened, and they come an hour later and I'm just looking like, well, they gone now. Or, you know, but I feel like their presence alone will slow down some of the activity that goes on in this area, where it's making my parents that's coming here for programming uncomfortable to be here if it's continuous. And I'm just like, well, what do we do? And you know, a lot of my teens that's in this area, some of them are just doing stuff just to be doing it, but I'm just like, we don't have enough programs for them to be doing, we don't have enough activities for them to be doing, but then it results to them doing something they have no business doing. So I'm trying to, I see a police officer every day on Madison right there by the McDonald's, and they're there all day, every day. So I'm trying to see, why is it that they can't be in this area patrolling more, where they're just making sure that it's a safety for our children that's in here, in this playground, in this basketball court, on this baseball field.
Right.
So the police should have been working on the commander, and I'm gonna say this, I don't know how true this is, but this is what was said out there in the meeting. There's so much information out there. But the gentleman that gave the presentation about the protection stop, he said we have a majority of our officers working on protection stop. He said, I think he said each department only one car, like response to 911. So all of the additional problems, I don't know how true that is, but he had to do some research somewhere and just didn't pull it out of the sky. He said someone at the police department, an upper ranking, told him this, and he's documented it. So I can't see it not being true for him to go to that extent. So we're gonna mention it to the commander. He filled this out for us, and we're gonna give it to the commander. But then we also have to follow up to make sure once we put it out there that they start doing better about, you know, having patrol cars up this area. But this is why I'm so glad that our speaker is here today, because he's maybe to address some of that for you. Yes, he said he got you.
But they don't, even though.
I'm sorry, because we kind of short the time, so we're not gonna go back and forth. We have any more 2-minute comments?
I just wanna ask a question about the shots fired. Is there any way we as community members can put into something about how we feel about it going on stuff?
Ms. Burke, I know you mentioned that to me, and I wrote myself a note here because I told you we're gonna have another meeting. I know they had a meeting a little while back at the Golden Dome maybe, but we're gonna bring the meeting here to Austin for 15 districts and have conversation. So we're gonna come from the department here, and we also want someone from the technology here, but we definitely keep saying that they have to give us data. They haven't released any data about how well the technology is working. And hopefully maybe we can get someone here that is proposing to, you know, want to end ShotSpotter. So we're gonna work on that, we're gonna get that meeting. It might have to be a special meeting.
Okay, we're gonna do two more, this one and then this one, then we're gonna move on.
My son got shot right out here 3 weeks ago. And he works for the Institute for Nonviolence of Chicago. He got shot in his throat and his foot. 3 weeks right out here. Oh my God. I mean, the police have been good to him in the hospital, probably because of where he works. And everybody knows him, but I mean, all the kids were down. This was 5 o'clock. Was this in baseball? Yeah. No, I don't know if baseball. This is 5 o'clock. This is 3 weeks ago.
You got a witness.
Nobody told me.
He's a witness to it. He witnessed.
Squeaky got shot.
Yeah.
That's a good friend of mine. I grew up with him my whole life. I know who you are.
Yeah.
And it was a tragic situation. We were out here.
Kids.
Kids were out here.
Appropriate.
When Squeaky got shot, I just walked in my house. I heard the gunshots go out. We had approximately 50 kids out there. At the time when this incident happened,
When I drove up, they called me because I was walking the dog. When I drove up, it was a bunch of kids out. And this is like 5 o'clock.
we had a police officer out here because we were doing baseball practice. The incident happened, and I'm gonna be honest with you, it was one officer out there by himself. I ended up running outside my house with my firearm in my hand, throwing kids on the ground. And then we went and ran down. Me and the officer ran down to assist him. And also the other gentleman that got shot that grew up in the area too.
And he got shot 18 times.
Yeah.
He passed away. His birthday was the next day. And Sweet is still upset right now because he said he called him because he was going to take him to have a drink. And he's still in the hospital.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is exactly the type of information that we need to channel into action. You have a son, and we thank him for his service of being an intervention person. We also have, again, those children that, or somebody's children, I'm not saying they're little people, but somebody's kid, that for whatever reasons is not knowledge of life. So let's find out how we can channel not just our resources, but our thoughts, our particular activities, and figure out how we can police our own communities. Because technically speaking, if there's only one squad car available for a whole district, that lets you know what you think of my safety.
Yeah.
So, it's going to take some serious stand up and be like, not gonna happen. When you go to your automatic meetings, your monthly meetings, this is a concern that you simply say, we want service, we want representation, and we don't want any other service. And if the person that's representing you, including us, is not doing what you want, it's real simple. Don't give us your vote. Because we're here to serve you. We're just your mouthpiece for whatever you need. But the interesting part about it, the gravity of what's happening is that we have to pull together. Those particular directors, I'd like to see you offline and find out exactly some of the details. I heard what you said. Just so we could use another title director to find out exactly how do we come to the aids of each other.
It's unacceptable that no police have showed up. That's really unacceptable.
I get it, but you know what, we can't change that. It's documented, meaning today, we can't change what happened today. But what we can do is address it for future purposes. This is our last statement. Yes, ma'am.
Concerned about the lack of enforcement of the parking lot. Signs, permits, and something down the streets, they don't enforce the permits. People are sitting in the park, wherever they want to park, and their zoning permits that they're violating because they're not supposed to park in the residential areas. And the police is not doing anything about it.
What are you talking about?
They continue to call them, they don't come, they give them no
somebody said that too many doing pretextual stops. I may not remember everything you said, but give me that, and we'll definitely give it to the police, by all means.
So they got 18 wheelers parking in there.
18 wheelers on residential street. That's, hey, look who came in the door. How you doing, Ollie? I'm fine. You know what? You don't know why I'm fine? Because that question, that last question, was actually a war issue. So that being said, can you, I know this is not on the agenda, but can you just come up for a second? I'm going to have him repeat it. And you advise as to how that should be done. I know you normally don't get that response from me. That's why he asked me to reply. All right. All right, Curtis.
Repeat, please.
Want to know why zoning enforcement, parking zoning enforcement is not being enforced the way it should be. You have cars and vehicles parked in residential areas, this is on residential parking. You have areas where vehicles parked there. Right now, we're talking about 18 wheelers parked up in the house right now as we speak. There's no enforcement. Basically, numerous calls have been made. There's still no enforcement. No one's going to do a ticket.
So as it relates to that, that's really not for the police department, and we should be working with the police department. Now, I did come across, I think, 2 trucks over the 100 block to the west end, I'm going to say, where there were 2 tractors, there were 2 trailers parked over there that we turned over to the ACP, and that was about maybe, it was late last week. So that came from the complaint from somebody in the 100 block of Wilmington. So those were the only ones that I was aware of. There's some others, and I can definitely follow up with those. Is that the one you were speaking of, or was it different? Oh, okay. 151 block of Quincy.
Right.
Okay.
Parked there now, parked the regular.
I just drove in. I didn't see this. Did I miss it? I'm sorry. I literally just drove down Quincy coming in here. But, you know, really? Now I saw the dumpster down there, but I missed it. But we'll afford it over here. BACP does truck enforcement. They're the primary, like the weights and things of that nature, because those tickets are a little more, those fines for parking or driving a overweight truck or in a residential street are much heftier than a regular parking ticket. So we tend to refer those to BACP because they're the actual truck enforcement group for the city. So, but we can also let the police department know as well. You all know who owns the truck or whose truck it is? Okay, all right. We can definitely send a follow up on this.
We got last question.
This question is for Jason. Jason, I've been noticing on the news how you talk about areas in which in the city, in your district, where you have organizations that are taking these areas and doing things for the kids over the summer. I've noticed that the organizations that you have are not a part of those communities. At what point in time are you going to allow organizations that are in the community, in those areas, working, living, to be a part of this table, to be a part of the